and welcome back to the Reloading Podcast. My name's Beard, and today I am here again with Netadark for another special. Technically makes two specials in a row, but let's just say this is the first special. Today we're talking about pretty much all of 2021 in review, because as you might have noticed, our last proper episode was in June or something.
Yeah, kind of a while ago, I guess.
It's been a hot minute. And you know, we all know the reasons why. We're all gonna cover the reasons why today. But you know, we didn't want to leave everything that happened this year because, after all, surprisingly much still happened. And surprisingly much stuff that's worth talking about still happened.
Especially near the end, I think. Because for some reason, things picked back up.
There were definitely a few hot spots throughout the year where a lot of things happened at once. And there was, like, streaks of nothing. So, you know, theoretically, we could have done an episode here or there throughout the year, but nothing ever really felt like it specifically warranted its own episode. So instead, we're now going to do like a whole, however long this thing is going to take. This is either going to, like, from experience, this is either going to be half an hour long and not going to see the light of day, not be uploaded at all, or this is going to go for like 3 hours.
There's kind of no in between, right? Oh god.
There is no in between with us.
Well done.
So yeah, we're going to talk about pretty much everything that happened in 2021, even if we've already talked about it here on the podcast, which also means we are going to start with the Division collab.
Oh, man.
That happened this year.
That's true. I actually almost don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
Except for one thing, that VSK is now in production, so I guess that's something.
VSK just, you know, we started the year with the Division collab. And now, as the year comes to a close, VSK is actually in production.
So, I mean, that's one way to give full closure. But yeah. I think, Division collab, as expected, not really that memorable for me. So
yeah, it's not that memorable. It was a good collab. I didn't actually like the stages surprisingly much, and I mean, again, you could tell it was a thing that Yuzhong wanted to make. Which, after the Yashin-chan collab, which we'll get to talk about that. You know, I'm finally, like, I know Gunslinger Girl and the Division should have already told me that, but I'm now fully convinced that, like, the way they come up with collabs is just Yuzhong barging into the meeting room on a morning and being like, hey, is there any way we can get the license for this so we can make cash off the fanfic I whipped up last night?
Yep, we should convince Yuzhong to watch Madoka Magica, because that would be a banger collab.
I think he's watched Madoka.
Watch it again.
I wouldn't put it past him, at least.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, I can imagine him.
It's Madoka. I haven't watched Madoka, actually.
What the fuck?
I haven't watched Madoka. I should put that very high on the list for Plan to
especially
watch,
because the fourth movie's now coming out soon.
For like season 3 or 4 of Plan to Watch. I'm not quite sure like how I'm going to structure that.
But
for those of you who don't know, I have a different project I'm working on called Plan to Watch, where I kind of want to do. I call it is anime zeitgeist analysis, where basically I watch a show that I haven't seen, and that's like. It doesn't have to be like a big deal, but you know, of course, I haven't seen a lot of big deal shows. And basically what I want to do, I want to watch that show that's on my Plan to Watch list, and instead of just reviewing the show, which I still want to do, I also want to look at how the anime community has seen and thought about that show throughout the years. So that's why I call it anime zeitgeist analysis instead of just like doing some anime reviews, clearing out my Plan to Watch list. I want to do a touch more. So yeah, that's Plan to Watch.
Yep.
Very shameless plug
so
there. So, anyways,
always.
Division collab.
Yeah. So one thing
liked
I liked it as well, but I think it's like one of those where after playing it, it just kind of fades into obscurity, and
Yeah,
even if I try to remember details about it, it's like
very, very much. Like
okay. There's one
Arxis
thing
collab.
I do like is Agent 416 is such a cool Tito. Like her,
I don't actually use her, so.
Agent 416. So basically, what she does is like she sets up the 3 grenades or landmines, better said, at the beginning of the combat, and for what she does, it's like she chips away large chunks of health, kind of like an airstrike ferry, just in Tito form.
Huh,
And
okay.
I think that's like one of the coolest Titos we've ever gotten from an event collaboration, because she actually has a unique role she fills, which is basically just pre-weakening enemy teams, especially if it's like large groups. So she's one of the coolest Titos, in my opinion.
Interesting.
And
I think a lot of very interesting T-Dolls have that problem, that their skill makes their role too specific.
Yep. I mean, in this case, it's not really that specific. It's just she's a grenadier that throws the grenades pretty much second zero. That's basically what she does.
Look at Agent Vector. Her skill is basically the same as DP12 and Wellmod, right?
Yep, kind of, yeah.
Column shield.
I mean, it's fine, but it's just like Agent 416's skill is just actually good.
Fair.
One thing
I'll look into using her, I guess.
One thing I definitely also want to point out is the equipment system, where you can like collect the entire pack of systems.
Set equipments should totally be a thing.
They should implement it. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, they are implementing it now, basically, with login specs.
Oh yeah.
Because all login specs have they append their doll's skill. So for what was it, type A? No, not type 88. Who was it? Type 4?
I don't remember. I haven't looked at them. So
let me check real quick. I'm
oh god.
Whose was it again? One moment, please.
Well, I think I should probably do some fairy fractions.
Fuck is it? I'm looking through my equipment list. I have way too many special equips.
See, what am
I... yeah, for Shiki, type 4.
Oh yeah, right.
For her, it makes that during her skill activation, I think it's usually the first skill, but like that, her first skill has piercing properties, I think, or her first shot during the skill has piercing properties.
Oh yeah.
But her spec makes it so that every other shot has piercing properties.
That's cool.
Or for Defender next month, we're getting, who was the Chapter 13 drop doll? Next month we're getting Defender special equipment. I think it just enhances her skill by adding one big fuck off damage shot. And like there's also Thompson, which is actually great. Thompson gets a special exoskeleton.
Oh, nice.
Which gives her taunt on skill.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
That is really fucking good.
Finally, it also fits her character, so that's cool.
Yeah, it fits her character, and just, you know, it really enhances the archetype of SMG or Force Shield SMG.
Yep.
Which that's another really neat touch I like, because I think that was something they changed in the client update earlier this year. Is they changed Force Shield dolls from just gaining absurd evasion to, or like absurd defense or something like that.
Makes more sense.
To an actual Force Shield.
Makes even more sense now.
To an actual 100% charged Force Shield. So, you know, enemy HOCs can actually punch through them if you don't watch out and stuff like that, which I really like that.
Yeah, that's a cool idea, actually. That's something I like to use.
There's probably still some like number jank going on there, which means that everything I just said is wrongs, but, you know, that's what it actually looks like now, at least.
think like the equipment upgrade system is actually a really good middle point between giving
Yeah, the special login equip point is a very good
giving
middle point.
T-Dolls a
Because it
mod
also means
and an actual upgrade. So
yeah, exactly. It means you can actually upgrade lesser used dolls that
Yep.
without giving them a mod.
yeah, because mods are actually probably a pain in the ass to make because you need to contact the artists again and all that. Also, like voice
I
actors.
don't think that's the real problem with mods. I think the
No,
real
I
problem
do
with mods
think
is just
that's-
balance.
No, I think it's also a part of the problem because otherwise you would probably see
I mean,
a
of
few more
course.
mods.
Of
Because,
course.
You
like,
have
if you look
it's
at,
logistically like a lot too.
I mean, look at PNC with how
Mhm.
many returning characters that game has.
Yep. Then again, it's a whole new
And I'm
project,
pretty-
so
I'm pretty sure they're using all their usual artists for the various
Yeah.
returning dolls.
I think yeah, it depends like how the contracts are written and so on. So, but yeah, it's a cool system. I like
Yeah.
it.
Definitely. I do hope we get to see a lot more for underused dolls. I think there's one for Grizzly as well. I don't know what her skill does, or what it does to her skill. There's one for Grizzly.
Mm.
I don't remember what other dolls there are that have some. I made a tweet about it like a month ago or something.
Yeah.
Listing a bunch of dolls that have them, but I don't remember actually.
It's probably going to pop up more often in the future.
Oh yeah, they're going to be the login thing for the next for the foreseeable future.
Which is, in my opinion, a great login thing to have.
Yeah,
also
it's better than the worthless dolls we've been getting for the last
Yep.
3 years.
Plus, I'm pretty sure we're going to get the equipment back again in the base camp, I hope.
Don't actually know how they've been handling that on old servers. I know there's been like more equipments or more special equips coming there.
Mhm.
I think
I mean, it
they
would be an
might have
ideal
been
way to
doing
do it
that.
because, I mean,
Yeah.
it would be ideal, so.
Okay, so another one we have is 9891. We have SVD,
Oh, nice.
Mondragon, which is a doll we don't even have yet, and
Mhm.
Honey Badger, and Jericho.
Oh, wait, Jericho? That's cool. Finally.
Yeah,
Some
and I think
love
Jericho's is
for-
actually pretty good as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite doll designs. Yeah,
SVD is also bonkers.
Mm,
Who she deals an additional instance of damage to armored targets
mm.
that entirely ignores armor and can crit while her skills are active.
Goddamn.
So every shot she takes during her skill activation, which is, I think is a rate of fire, it's just a normal assault focus, so rate of fire and damage increase.
Mm. Yeah, it's pretty good.
She has an extra instant of damage, not just her first shot, but also like on top of that, an extra instance of damage that doesn't even care about armor and that can crit. So yeah, that's gonna be insane, especially with all the new equipment. Which we'll get to that again. We'll try and go through this year in order, which we've already graciously failed at, but let's just keep going.
Oh yeah, screw order.
Polarized light
Wait.
happens.
Oh yeah, true. Kind of. Wait, yeah.
Kind of
Polarized
a
light.
while ago now.
Oh, yeah, sort of. It's been a few minutes at least.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since Polarized
Just-
Light.
Wait, which? Oh, okay, never mind. Track was 34, but still.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, come again.
Oh yeah, I just reset. Looked up Jericho again, so I remember having her around. Just a rank, a 4-star, not a 3-star as I expected. That's
SVD?
the SVD's.
Yeah, SVD is a 4-star.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Jericho.
Oh yeah, Jericho, she's also a 4-star. Could have told you
Yep,
that.
she's the machine gun support, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anti-judge weapon.
But yeah, I don't really have much left to say about Polarized Light, though. I mean,
No,
for one,
same here. It's
for one, we did a full episode on it, so if
Yeah.
you really want our proper takes on it, go look at that. But what I do want to say is, I saw an incredible animatic.
Oh yeah, you mean the one
the-
with M4 everyone hunting
yeah,
someone?
M4's
Yeah.
fight for the control panel.
Mm-hmm.
That
It
was
was great.
insane. Like, holy shit, if you haven't seen that, if I remember it, I'm gonna put it in the description, but you should go and look for that. It's actually incredible.
Yeah,
And that brings us to the
best.
next topic already, which is the anime.
Oh yeah, it's coming out.
The anime was announced and is coming out in just over a week from now.
Right. Oh yeah,
actually,
it's
like almost exactly a week from now, because this is going live on New Year's.
Oh, nice.
So
Wait.
yeah.
Oh.
Huh? Yeah. I'm
Spoilers for me. Now I know when it's
spoilers
coming
for
up.
you. Now you know when
Shit.
we're going to release this.
Oh no.
So yeah,
But
this episode, I mean, you're watching it now, but it's going live on New Year's midnight, 12 a.m. 1st of January. So
speaking
from
of
today,
anime,
it's exactly a week away.
Yeah.
On the 8th. Yeah, midnight on the 8th is when it's releasing to streaming services.
Nice.
Which I think is Amazon Prime, which sucks. Because Prime Video
Is
is
it?
garbage for anime.
Oh well, I mean, yes.
But it's also coming to Hulu, I think. Someone's that was something on the promotional videos. But yeah, streaming is going to be available on midnight on the 8th, and broadcast on television is going to be like the usual anime broadcast time, 1:30, 2 a.m., stuff like that. Which actually is quite interesting if you don't know about that. I think you know, but for the audience, the way Japan does airing times is really interesting. When something airs past midnight, but like at a reasonable night time, so if something airs in like a late night block that someone like would watch into after the evening, or someone would watch before they go to bed, they count that on top of the 24-hour counter.
Yeah, it's a 30-hour clock.
So GFL is airing at 25:30.
Yep, the reason for that is basically just to make it very clear that it's nighttime, not daytime.
Yeah, it's
so
a nighttime.
That's basically
it's a nighttime block.
Yep.
So
basically,
they just do that for like late night shows that you.
It's not just for shows. It's for every nighttime activity. They have like clubs, bars, etc.
Oh, really?
The timer is set to up to 30 hours until like 6 in the morning, basically.
30. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, we can say like, oh, it's this bar's open from 24 until 29, and then it's like, okay, it's like until 5 in the morning it's open.
That's fair enough. That's actually interesting. I didn't know that.
Yep, it's a cool system actually.
I was only
but
aware of the thing for airing times.
Yep, the system is kind of interesting because it favors a 12 clock, despite them using a 24 clock. It's weird, but I mean, hey, it works. So
yeah, it works for them.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people would have issue adjusting to that, but
yeah, it's like
it's a thing,
25.
so.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah.
I've actually seen a fair amount of confusion surrounding that when people
are
talking about the airing times. It's like, the fuck is 25:30, guys? It's 1:30 in the morning. Chill. It's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, no, it's reminds me of the one joke there with the war criminals using 24-hour clocks, and then someone responding with, "Oh no, I'm an American. I can't count past 12." Just 12-hour clocks just go to 12.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
anyway. Anime, yeah.
First and foremost, the promotional artwork by DYJ broke the fandom by revealing that M4, in fact, this entire time has been wearing a leotard.
Yep, this is the revelation we've all been waiting for, obviously.
And it's so weird, because, yeah, of course, but no one ever noticed it. M4 doesn't wear pants.
This is important canon.
It's important canon, all right. And like it's even visible on her chibi, which I'm noticing this looking at it right now. But that's something I haven't seen pointed out.
Wait.
Yeah,
Oh my
you can
gosh.
see that she's wearing a leotard on her chibi itself because of the way the chibi is structured.
Oh yeah.
It looks like she's wearing shorts, but no, that's a leotard.
Wait, I forgot she's a foster in the original. Jesus.
Yeah, remember when the AR team was made up of 4 stars?
Yep.
But yeah, the anime, a lot of things have come out regarding it. For one, the OP is amazing. I
Oh, yeah,
wanna
the
talk
OP
about
is a banger.
Can we please fucking talk about the OP? Because good lord, I want to talk about the OP all fucking day.
Oh yeah, the OP is fucking amazing. I love the animation, but the song is a banger.
So fucking good. And I love what they did with the OP, because I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it doesn't feel like an OP, like a GFL anime OP. It feels like an MAD.
Yep, I agree.
It totally feels more like someone, especially the song. It doesn't feel like they went and made an OP song for a GFL anime, which they did technically. But what they actually did, or what it actually feels like, is they picked a song to go along with GFL visuals. Again, just like an MAD.
That makes sense. And
which is so fucking cool, because it really keeps that like indie feeling intact, that GFL, like that all of GFL and all of its community has. And I fucking love that.
It's also just a really good song, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, it's just a really fucking good song. It's not a particularly GFL song. I'll totally admit that.
Wait. Would I agree
Sure,
with
the lyrics and everything, yes, they fit. You know, I'm not just a doll, you can manipulate, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. But I'm talking about the audio itself that actually holds true, because
I mean, it's not an unfitting song.
yeah, no, it's just newer GFL soundtracks like Polka Records, for example.
Like what?
Like the newest event.
No.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually haven't listened to any of those soundtrack paths.
Absolute bangers.
Like
really fucking good.
For anything that EN doesn't have.
Yeah, I
always try to stay completely unspoiled. I want
actually,
pure experience, goddammit.
I actually prefer listening to those in advance, just because that's like the safest thing to be excited about without any real actual spoilers. Except for maybe like themes reappearing, but that's about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I can just say, if you like the OST early games, early events, the newer ones are going to be much better. So
yeah,
that's good. Like if just one thing that GFL is good is this steady increase of the OST quality. It's incredible how good the OST is now, or in the future now.
I mean, that's always been a thing for Micah Works. I mean, let's be fucking real. The Bakehouse OST alone is, I mean, yeah, it's crusty as fuck because we don't have like the raw files or something. But Vanguard Sound have been with Micah since the very beginning.
Yep, and it
of
shows.
Both circles, and it shows.
Yeah.
Like, we've gone from Viva Team, which was, if you don't know, that was Vanguard's original name. Back in though. They released an album of Konami remixes, which I'm almost certain that Yuzhong found them through that because Metal Gear.
It makes a lot of sense.
And since then, they've been working together. They made the soundtrack for Girl of the Bakehouse. They were meant to make the soundtrack for Girl of the Bakehouse 2 and HD. They made the soundtrack for Codename Bakery Girl, which is fucking amazing. If you haven't heard the Codename Bakery Girl OST, dear fucking god, go listen to it before Reverse Collapse comes out, because you will want to know the comparison with the original in your mind.
That's gonna be interesting, yeah.
And then, I mean, GFL early OST has its quirks. I'll admit that. Early GFL OST is kind of weak.
Arctic Warfare is a standout in a weird way.
Yeah, Arctic Warfare is a bit of a standout. there are standout songs, and then there's especially like the big bangers, like "What Am I Fighting For," stuff like that.
Mythoclast,
Which-
especially.
I'm going to say this: "What Am I Fighting For" is still the biggest fucking banger that GFL has ever produced.
I agree.
I'm not letting anyone argue me on that. I don't give
Shut
a
up.
fuck about Moment. I genuinely, this is
Let's
going to
see.
be the spiciest take I've probably ever given on this podcast. I do not give a fuck about Moment of My Nightmare.
Moment of a Nightmare is which one again?
I think it's the DR ending song
Oh yeah.
or Mirror Stage. I don't
Wait.
exactly remember which one.
I
But
think
like,
it could be the Mirror Stage.
I don't remember exactly. It's either or.
Let's see
It's
which
either
one it was.
dual randomness or Mirror Stage.
It's
ED.
the Mirror Stage ED.
It's the Mirror Stage ED. Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
an
don't like it.
okay song.
I don't like it. I know a bunch of people love it, especially the Metal Gear crowd, because
Oh yeah,
Duh.
for obvious reasons.
for
because
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I don't like it.
It's, in my
I
opinion,
don't vibe with it.
one of the weak ending songs.
Yeah. I mean, Connection is fucking amazing.
Yep.
Connection is amazing. It's always like on off. I don't know the DR ED, but it would be interesting if we always have like a banger ED followed by a weaker one, and then we go back to bangers. I also don't know the Ponka Recurrence ED, so that
I
as well.
partially know
I
it.
can't
It's-
exactly say.
I partially know the Punkcore ending. It's
Don't remember the PL one either. Damn.
PL has had. Wait, PL had one. It's
PL did have one, right?
yeah, I had one. It's Polarized, I think, was the name of it, or something close to it.
Yeah, probably just Polarized Light, I think.
Yeah, something like that. It's an okay one. It's not as good as Connection, I think.
Yeah,
Point
Connection is insane.
Connection is really good. Yeah,
Connection is
So-
fucking amazing. Like, I still listen to it on a weekly basis at least.
yep. The newest ED song is one that I think is really good, but it's not
For
one I would.
Ponka Recurrence?
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
genuinely haven't heard it yet.
it's.
I haven't listened to it.
I won't even say the genre of it, but it's nice. It's just a easy listen, I think.
Like, the one thing I usually listen to, even before an event comes out, is the ED. Because it
Mhm.
really gives a good, it actually usually gives a relatively good idea about the vibe of an event.
Yep. And yeah, that's
But it's also, it's also something you can, as a fandom, celebrate.
mm,
Because usually the ED tracks are like the big signature tracks of any given event.
yep.
So it's the one thing that almost anyone, even those who are abstaining for spoiler reasons, will know about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Except What Am I Fighting For? Because no one should listen to that before they've played Singularity.
That's gonna be difficult for most.
Or Continuum Turbulence, for that matter, because let's be real, the subject matter going on in
Oh yeah, that makes
What
sense.
Am I
Yeah,
Fighting For totally bleeds over into Continuum Turbulence.
obviously, yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of TED, of Fine Color
Which is
Recurrence.
also why I think that CT, as far as I remember, doesn't have its own ED.
Yep, it doesn't. But CT is still my favorite event up to this point. Like,
Yeah, CT's great.
I
I would
think,
call it my favorite, but it's great.
I think my current issue, or just gonna glance over, is all the recent events are so focused on story and world building that like the character moments are like really laying behind right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's
and
just
I
like,
don't think
I
it's gonna get any
really-
better anytime soon.
Yeah, I hope at least it does, because I really loved
shit.
like. What? What did you do?
Theta's gonna start streaming in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Whoops. Might have
Oh,
fucked
well.
that up on timing. Oh well, I'm just gonna miss an hour or two. That's fine. He'll stream for like 3 hours anyways.
You can watch the VOD later.
Yeah. Also, yeah, a little bit of a
Um,
shout out here because we're technically still on the topic of the anime.
Oh yeah.
Theta, who you'll have seen me talk about every now and then here and there, He's an anime analyst on YouTube. You can find his channel under Nearly on Red, which again, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description, at least on YouTube.
Yeah, red as in the color, not the verb.
Red, yeah, exactly. Red as in the color. Nearly on Red. Which actually he has a very specific color that he calls Nearly on Red. Which you might actually be able to get a license for. And it's the hex code C90D0D. That is Nearly on Red.
Yeah. Nice.
Very, very unnecessary, very specific brand knowledge. But yeah, he's an anime analyst. He's been doing his thing for like a couple of years now. His YouTube channel has been very regrettably dormant because of writer's block and creative problems that he's had with quote-unquote content campaign that he's been trying to do, where he's been playing through different, like, he was wanting to like analyze different types of cyberpunk media to, for one, kind of distance himself from anime a bit, but also because cyberpunk is a relatively important genre to anime, especially because of how it crossbreeds Western and Eastern cultures.
Oh, yeah.
And how many influences from like film noir there are, which is like a very Western thing, and then how many Eastern influences it draws. So, you know, that's something he wanted to do, and in lieu of that, I managed to get him addicted to GFL.
Good work.
Because he's also doing like gaming streams is the primary thing he's been doing, because that's like a very regular type of content that you can relatively easily produce without like much of creative input. Is why that was like has been like the one constant thing. He picks a few shows he talks about live on stream every season. He does a seasonal preview show, and he does the game streams for the content campaign while he figures out the rest of the campaign. And I managed to get him addicted to GFL. And as a result, he's going to be covering the anime next season. So, if you're into GFL and you want to watch the anime, I genuinely recommend you go and check his streams out. He'll be streaming every Friday, as per the anime airing schedule.
Yeah,
And,
I can just recommend him in general. His work is really fucking good if you're into writing in general. So if you have any interest in
his
how
channel
things,
is genuinely fantastic.
It's one of the best. It's like in
he calls himself he says it's anime storytelling analysis.
Which
is that's pretty much spot on.
Yep.
And he's been having an absolute blast with the GFL story, which
I still need to watch.
It makes me really happy because it's been by far the longest game he's been playing on stream.
Yep.
And you know, a lot of people also found him through his GFL streams, from the GFL community, of course. So yeah, I genuinely recommend his stuff. Go watch his analysis. He did a really good analysis video on Sonny Boy, if you watch that video or that show. But he's also done like full episodic series analysis of Made in Abyss, Hoseki no Kuni, or
That's
Darling
how I
in the
found him,
Franxx.
actually.
I found him through Darling in the Franxx.
Yep, that's like one of
And then
those.
later watched his H&K stuff.
Oh man.
And then after that, he did a few mixed things here and there. He wanted to do Promised Neverland, but that got him copyright striked. And from there,
it would have been amazing to see his commentary on season 2. Holy shit!
It's kind of been going downhill with his channel. It's been really hard for him to get back into the swing of things. Which I'm able to talk about it like this because I'm the owner of his Discord server. If you don't know, it's the primary place where he organizes all his events and uploads and stuff with his community. We have a fucking amazing community down there in the Discord, so might as well throw a link in the description for that.
So many links. Good luck with remembering everything.
So yeah, absolutely a fantastic channel, and he's going to be doing GFL coverage more openly and more commonly starting next week. So
exciting.
Exciting stuff.
Okay, so one thing I definitely want to get back into is, I really think like the character moments have really suffered in the most recent events. The
Yeah.
best way to describe it is whenever I read through the event, it's like, holy shit, that's actually kind of cool idea, cool idea, cool idea, cool idea, cool idea, and so on. It just
Like,
doesn't emotionally resonate with anything with me.
I think
Like,
someone should just remind Yuzhong that the game is called Girls Frontline.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think that would be a good start.
The main thing is, for example, okay, should we talk about spoilers or?
No, let's leave it spoiler free.
Okay, spoiler free.
Because I might,
As best
it might
as I
actually
can.
spoil me too.
No, it's everything just up. Wait, have you finished chapter 13?
No, I have not actually. That we'll get to later.
Okay, so wait, how are you not finishing chapter 13 already? But yeah,
I can't be asked to actually.
oh no, you
play
have to
the fucking
use
game.
EN. You have to EN scheduling here. So let's do it in 8 months or so.
Yeah, exactly.
But no. Let's say
I do have to play through chapter 13 at
Yep.
least before DR comes out.
But yeah, basically just recent events since I think Isomer, in my opinion, or wait, not Isomer. Isomer had a great character moment. That's true.
Isover was fantastic.
Oh yeah, it had. Which one was it?
Not even just in terms of character moments. I just
Shattered
really
Connection
fucking
had
like.
some good moments as well. Like it's not like it lacks the moments, but I think, in my opinion, nothing came close to like the hunt between Jaeger and
Angie.
Ange. Yeah, like that scene.
That was an
is, like-
fucking insane arc.
Yep, it was one of the best things that Javel has ever done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, like recent events with the whole mindfuck stuff regarding M4A1 and so on and so on. In Polarized Light, what we learned, and Shadow and Exon, etc. The Ogres thing. I think Ogres itself as an arc structure is kind of cool, but it is so fucking huge and like it just rewrites the
Yeah.
entire thing.
Yeah,
Where
the problem I
it's
see with
like-
Ogas is that it's too big of a deal to make sense of.
Yeah,
Like the way it's set up and the way the story has been told makes Ogas just too big of not just a thing but a deal to wrap your head around, even though we've been spoon-fed stuff for like
Mhm.
5 events in a row now about it.
yep. It's
And I
Ogres
don't
is
like
like
that.
a
Don't
weird
like
thing.
that at all.
I think one of the biggest issues of Ogres is like how much it basically just interconnects everything from GFL into like
It's-
one thing.
I feel like it's not like we don't, but we should have much better of an idea of what Ogas actually is. At
I
this
mean, we
point.
do have, but
Yeah,
you haven't
we
read
kind
it
of
yet.
get it. We kind of get it.
I mean,
But
there's
I
a
would
lot
still
more.
say we should have much better of an idea at this point.
Oh, we absolutely do. It's just you haven't read it yet, so there we go.
I mean, yeah, if it's chapter 13, then
yeah, it is
sure
chapter.
enough, but-
Yeah, I'm not gonna review much or anything about it, but yeah, chapter 13 is going to give you a lot more answers and even more questions, as expected.
fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't really know where they're going with this. That's basically my huge problem with it at the moment. Like it's kind of building into something.
Even if you include Ponka recurrence,
I can't recall.
if you
I
read
can't
it.
really. Not yet. I'm
Okay.
keeping my information on to Ian only, so
Okay. fair
everything
enough.
after Ian
'Cause-
is just.
Because you know,
not
I've
for me.
heard a lot of I've heard a lot of people saying that Ponka recurrence is extremely climactic.
Yeah, that's something.
So
I'm
whatever
hopeful.
the next event is might actually be the last. Is what
That's gonna
people
be
are saying.
interesting.
I mean, you know, people keep saying, "Oh, you know," but Yujon said it's going to be 20 chapters all in
Mhm.
all, and then events on top of that. But I feel at this point it's going to come down to 20 chapters total, including events. Especially
Try to
with
make
how
that.
absurdly long events have gotten.
Oh yeah,
Because like
it's
Ponka
massive.
recurrence is 3 times the length of PL.
Jesus Christ, it's gonna be
Which
interesting to watch.
PL itself was like already twice as long as Singularity.
Weird. I mean, I'm
Like,
all
do you-
for it. Holy,
I think DR alone is also already longer than CT.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. I don't remember the exact proportions here, but like Mirror Stage and especially Ponka Recurrence are something else.
Speaking of
like
chapter
Ponka
wait.
Recurrence is an actual novel. In
Yep.
terms of word count, I think.
which I'm hyped for.
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
the fact that it's like so huge. Yep. Oh yeah, just
Absolutely. It's going to be a chore.
Yeah, I looked it up again, but
to experience NGFL's framework.
Mhm. Let's see if we can find a good comparison. So,
I had a really bad idea just now.
well, which one?
Should I go on Theta's stream and tell him to say something for the podcast?
I mean, if you want.
Let's not do that. Let's not get him out of the blue like that. He doesn't like that, I think.
Makes sense, yeah. Okay, let's see if we can find it. Slide combat.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the polarized light length. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, the polarized light, because Shoal SHOUL uploads like the entire story-only videos, and here polarized light is like 6 hours and 30 minutes, which is kind of expected, and chapter 13 is 2 hours and 30 minutes, just story content.
Oh,
So-
okay. You mean like playtime count?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically 2.5 hours for chapter 13 of reading time. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Which mean
Yeah,
I'm out for it.
Recurrence is even worse.
Oh yeah, I think
a
I've read like which one was it? I think Mirror State or so. I've copied into like Word documents at some point. It was like 500 pages or so, which was insane. But I think it's also because of the formatting and how much dialogue there is. So
I mean, yeah.
it's not entirely
Dialogue
500
formatting
pages.
takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, but it's like a fuck ton.
Yeah. So anyways, anime is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Actually.
theoretically. That's good.
Did you
that
see
we
the first 8 minutes they released yesterday?
Nope, I haven't.
Because for
Actually.
the if you don't know, for the JP dev stream, for the JP dual randomness stream,
Mhm.
the main thing they talked about was actually the anime. And they also showed the first 8 minutes of the first episode.
Nice.
Now, they did fuck up in
Oh.
classic Sunborn fashion, because the music was mixed way too fucking high. So you couldn't understand anything the characters were saying for half the episode, half the fucking clip. So that's great. But all in all, it looks really good. I'm genuinely liking it. And what's also really interesting is that episode 1 is called The Seed, which you'll know is the chapter name for chapter 0. So for one, we'll be covering chapter 0.
That makes
And
sense.
second, we might be covering a full chapter every episode.
Which is gonna be interesting.
If
My-
they
my-
keep that if they keep that pattern going of calling episodes by chapters.
Yep, my biggest hope is that they end
Which means
before
that-
Singularity.
Which means that we'll probably end, somewhere around chapter 9 or 10.
Yep. So end
Like,
before
if we say we're doing one chapter each series,
Yep.
each episode, then we have Seed, we have Awakening, Echo, Silence, Message, Kindling. Then I think Cube comes in, which
Yep.
we probably will see Cube because we've seen 404 as well, and they don't really take much precedence in the story before Cube. So I think we will definitely see Cube itself. Not sure about Cube Plus.
It's gonna be
That
interesting
was-
to implement
Where
actually.
exactly is Cube Plus again?
Q
It's
Plus is after Arctic Warfare, I think.
After Arctic Warfare, so it's 7.75, I think.
Yep, should be that one. I can check right quick.
But yeah, we have Kindling, then Cube, then Comment, then Partner. Then Arctic Warfare is very likely still. I do think we're going to go through at least Chapter 7. And possibly Arctic Warfare. Because there's also been DYJ. It wasn't on the original one released. which only had the AR team. But DYJ also made
Wait.
promotional artwork for RO, which is being sold in context for the anime as merch. So
Yep.
RO is pretty much confirmed to appear in the anime, even if she's not credited yet.
Mm-hmm.
So chances
Well-
are we'll at least see chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the latest point I would put us at.
Yep.
That we are
Also-
guaranteed to see.
I have the feeling we might. No, wait. Yeah, I'm actually curious how they're going to make Q Plus into the anime. One way to do it would be to skip Cube and then go with Q Plus later on. But so like a sort of flashback thing, but it's
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
who knows how they're gonna do
But
it.
yeah, chances are again we'll go at least to chapter 7.
Yep.
And from there, it's not really that much left.
I mean, sort of.
Or-
yeah.
I mean, given the OP, we also
Yep.
know that the butterfly incident is very specifically referenced in the OP. Not just because it literally starts with a butterfly, but also because we see M16's transition. Because if you actually haven't noticed, when M16 looks away from the screen, that like after the whole, it introduces the SF cast, then
Mhm.
transitions to Mastermind, then that scene transitions to being on a screen that M16 is looking at.
Mhm.
She actually has both her eyes in that shot. And then as she looks towards the camera, her eye patch fades in.
Yep.
So I definitely think that if we're going to chapter 7, we're also going into deep dive.
Which is exciting.
Which means we're also seeing chapter 8.
Yep.
And
many good
again, I
chapters.
do definitely think we're going to at least see deep dive. Because of that thing in the OP.
Yep.
Maybe I'm just
So,
looking
yeah.
into it too much. Might as
Yeah,
well.
Still, my hope is always going to be do not make Singularity into an anime just yet. Give it a movie or so.
Yeah, Singularity should definitely be a movie. End the anime with chapter 10, then say Doll's
Mhm.
Frontline, the movie, Singularity, something like that.
Give it a trilogy of movies for like the best experience. No,
That'd be too much. No,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
don't split every chapter into its own movie. That'd
no,
be
I
way too
mean,
much.
I was just talking about because Singularity has like the different paths you can walk, you can do. So like every path a movie, but that would be
That'd be
quite
like
the
9
undertaking.
movies.
I mean, hey, why not? Just give all the gacha money. But yeah, no,
Now then the question is, what do you do with CT?
awesome movie, follow-up movie.
No, oh my god, do like an OVA for CT. I think that's the only way you could really handle it.
I mean,
Or like do a series or a movie again
yeah,
with like
no.
full walkthroughs and then like OVAs for all the side failure routes.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be the primary way. You
so
could do
tiny
CT.
OVAs
But,
like
like,
Symphogy
these-
OVAs,
But like like the shit
like
eyes.
chibi OVAs. Then
We already have a Chibi OVA.
do it.
Oh no,
more
that's an
for CT.
ONA. Shit, we have Chibi ONA.
Yep.
Never mind.
But
Which
yeah,
the difference, for
um,
those who don't know, difference between OVA and ONA. OVA is original video animation. ONA is original network animation. So
It's the distribution, the difference is basically.
yeah, it's just distribution difference. OVAs are like
I mean, technically-
OVAs are like straight to DVD sequels,
yeah, which doesn't really exist anymore. So
which isn't really much of a thing anymore, right? I mean, they definitely still are a thing, still, but
I mean, yeah, in theory, yes.
not as much in like anime.
Yeah.
In anime nowadays, you're usually looking at ONAs, which is a series or a movie, not even necessarily a movie, or like a series or short film, rather, released straight to streaming.
To be fair, actually, anything that is released straight to streaming is ONA.
Anything really?
Basically, if it's a
Does it
release,
apply to
it's.
anything?
I mean, that assumes that it's just about release type, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Like straight to network. Yeah, original network animation, originally made for the network. So yeah,
Fair enough. But yeah, anything that releases
So-
basically straight to streaming rather than anything else.
yeah. Just exclude.
Or rather than having a cinema or broadcast release,
Yep, that's basically it.
then it's an ONA, which is exactly what Healing and Madness chapter are. So yeah, we totally have chibi
Yep.
ONAs.
It's gonna be.
I've been trying to push Theta into watching Healing chapter. He hasn't done it yet. I'll get him. I got him with
He'll be
GFL.
healed.
I'll get him to watch Healing chapter. It's so fucking good, man.
Hmm.
I swear, people sleep on Healing chapter. It's such a good fucking chibi show.
Yep.
So anyways, moving into the like middle of the year, or like past the middle of the year, into the late middle of the year, we have the early June incident.
You mean which one?
The early June incident?
Nothing.
Protocol assimilation.
Oh, that one.
God, what a shit show. The beginning of the
Oh.
end for this year, basically.
Yeah, sort of. We just kind of skipped a few months, but yeah.
Not really. I mean, we
Um,
skipped like the early months because
yeah.
there wasn't that much happening between The Division and Polarized Light.
That's
What
true,
did
yeah.
happen, what we did forget, something, so let's not talk about the early June incident right now. Let's talk about something else. The fucking anniversary? Hello?
Right, that was an anniversary. Oh
The
yeah,
fifth anniversary was this year.
that's true.
I just want to reiterate that because fucking hell, Sunborn went and made a convention for their own franchise.
I mean, to be fair, okay, why not?
And they fucking pulled it off. Like, not
Mhm.
without a hitch, but it mostly went well, right?
Yep.
I haven't heard anything bad going down there. And the memes it spawned were fucking fantastic. Yuzhong trotting on stage in his janked up 6P62 avatar as a mascot.
Mm.
That was fucking amazing. I'm gonna put again, if I remember to, I'm gonna put a video an image of him in that on screen right now. It's fucking amazing.
Mm. So
But yeah,
just-
like it was such a nice thing to see.
Mm.
Because like at the end, looking like, especially for me, who's, you know, I'm a historian. I I'm the Micah historian. If you, without tooting my own horn here, that's basically what I am at this point. I am the Micah team historian. Just was such a incredible thing to see how this small little college dorm trio, or like this one guy from this one small college dorm trio, had now grown to the point where he has his own multi-million-dollar game development studio that can just kind of throw conventions for their own game for the sake of it. That's insane.
a good goal to have, to be honest.
Come again?
It's a good goal to have, to be honest. Like being
I
able
still
to
didn't get it.
throw. It's a good goal to have. To be able to throw your own conventions. It's
Oh yeah.
pretty nice. Oh.
But yeah, also what's really fucking amazing is I didn't actually like notice this until very recently. The exposition hall
Mm.
that they like the hall that they rented out for their counter roll. That was the same hall that the Comic Cup took place in, that they first sold Girl of the Bakehouse at.
Oh, nice.
They held their big carnival celebration of their franchise and company in the same hall that they originally sold their first work in. That's so fucking
Yep.
cool.
Hmm.
And then again, in that same hall, or like at the same convention later the year, or earlier last year, I think, I'm not quite sure. No, earlier this year, at Comic Cup, they also had a huge PNC poster out, or billboard out on the side of the building. So again, at the same event that they started at, almost 10 years, or over 10 years later,
Mm.
they have their next big thing as like the prime billboard outside on the convention hall. That's fucking amazing. Like, and now they have a fucking anime coming up.
Yeah.
this year has been such a huge glow up and like for Sunborn, and such a incredible like it's hard to put into words, really. It's been such an incredible like payoff for what Sunborn have been, or Sunborn and Micah team have been doing for the last fucking 13 years. Because again, not only did they have their anniversary in the same hall as they sold their first product in, not only did they have that big ass fucking billboard on the side of that same event that they originally sold their first work at, not only are they getting a fucking anime made of their like biggest work yet, they also got a fucking gargantuan investment from the biggest gaming company in the world. Which, if for those who don't remember that, Sunborn got a huge tactical investment from Tencent earlier this year. Which, they didn't get anything for that. They got shares, yeah, because it's an investment. But it's a tactical investment. They had no conditions, nothing. It was an unconditional investment for shares. And that's insane.
Yep, finally, he was on Orchestra Part 2. I'm waiting for it. Unironically, though, I really want another orchestra. Holy shit, yeah, that's so good.
That's the thing that I'm gonna look for the tweet real quick. Because that's the thing that I think really encapsulates this year for Sunborn. And again, if I remember to, I'm going to put this picture of him on screen, of Yusheng on screen, at the anniversary, at like the final big thing on the stage, the final big celebration on stage. Like, man's in his 30s, and he's deadass just standing there, basking, cheered on, nay, worshipped by the crowd attending the self-raised convention of his own multi-million-dollar company, orchestra playing his brainchildren behind him, showered in champagne.
I mean, that's life goals, to be honest.
Like, seriously, that one picture really, for me, really encapsulates everything that has happened for Sunborn this year. Because, like, PNC was the biggest MOBA game launch in the ACG industry after Genshin Impact. They took a solid second place with that. Like, that alone is incredible. But again, they got all this other shit at the same time. They have the anniversary convention. They have the anime. They have the investment from Tencent. They have the gargantuan success of PNC. Everything. It's a fucking perfect storm for them.
Yeah, and that's basically, yeah.
We're gonna get to all the painful stuff in a bit.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna be real. It pales in comparison to the successes that Sunborn have had this year. Absolutely. Like, I can't, like, with how much they've been doing, I can't with good conscience say that all the fuck-ups they did for the global area specifically, you know, the delay of Reverse Collapse and all the shit that's been happening with GFL Global, which it's now GFL Global, not GFEN anymore. I think all that doesn't... It's just kind of...
Yeah, I mean,
if you look at how everything else has been going. Because, for me, the most important thing about Sunborn, again, is... It's hard to put this in a way that doesn't make me sound like an absolute simp. But what's really most important for me is the company itself, right? The indie nature of them. They are the little... They're the little guy that could.
Yeah,
right?
just a huge indie
gave birth to the industry, basically.
Mm.
And now they're even though they're still going strong, they're kind of the underdog.
Which is
right?
kind of insane, yeah.
And I think that's also why Tencent made their investment there. They've been trying to get into the ACG market. Alchemy Stars has mostly faded from public perception.
Mm.
So that was a failure in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's still making bank. I'm not gonna deny that. And Alchemy Stars still has a pretty good following. But, again, in terms of public conscience, nobody really fucking cares about it, either in the West, at least in the West here. Which sucks because it was the first ever ACG of that scale, or ACG Gacha of that scale, to be released globally at this, like all servers releasing at the same time. That was a pretty big deal. But again, it just kind of faded from public conscience. And I do think Tencent still very much want to get in on the industry, and that's why they invested into Sunborn of all companies. For one, MiHoYo have turned them down multiple times, which I very much think is why MiHoYo, or why Genshin, isn't on Switch yet. You know how Genshin was promised to come to Switch?
No, I don't really care about Genshin.
Well, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Genshin was meant to come to Switch very early on. Like, it should have been out on Switch by now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think technical problems is why it hasn't happened. I think Tencent is why it hasn't happened, because Tencent are in charge of the Switch's distribution in China. And MiHoYo are the biggest fish in the pond. And they're like one of the very few that are still, like, one of the very few studios that are truly independent in China. Sunborn have had publishers throughout their entire lifespan. Most specifically Digital Sky for GFL, which, they're self-publishing nowadays, but again, in early, like, up until, I think, Shattered Connection?
Something, yeah.
Chapter 12? They were published by Digital Sky in China. And, of course, XD Global does Taiwan, Korea, and is going to do the release of Reverse Collapse. Then there's Hypergriff, Manju, they're all under Yostar's umbrella. And, that's all the big players out of the way. There's only MiHoYo. MiHoYo are the only real big indie guys, and they've completely refused any advances from Tencent.
Yep.
So they're the biggest fish, but then there's Sunborn, who have the historical significance and the drive to keep innovating the market, which again I do think we're seeing with PNC, because for one, I mean, PNC's metagame is very much like Princess Connect. I'm not gonna deny that. Just like Blue Archive, which just recently came out to global, that also very much takes after Princess Connect's metagame. But what they want to do with PNC is something very different. For one, again, story-driven content primarily. Auto Chess is still a gargantuan franchise over in China, and where they also want to really go hard, what Sunborn have said, is user-generated content. It's not in the game yet, but they really want PNC to be a game driven, like, especially later down the line, they want the game to be driven by user-generated content. Something they've said they want to make possible is GFL in PNC. That's something, like, the grade of user-generated content they want to enable people to make, is to be able to emulate other games in Project NeuroCloud, with GFL being given as an example. And then, of course, GFL 2 is still happening, and Reverse Collapse is still happening. And, those games were delayed because of the investment, because it allows Sunborn to scale up. It allowed Sunborn to continue scaling up and to really make the games the best way they can be, right? By now, GFL 2 would have released if it wasn't for the investment. By now, Reverse Collapse would have released if it wasn't for the investment. By now, PNC would have probably released Global if it wasn't for the investment. But they've delayed all those things because they want to make sure it works. And that's another thing I feel that a lot of people have forgotten. Sunborn right now are in a really unenviable spot, I think. That's something that a lot of people have forgotten over the past few months. Because, of course, let's not ignore it anymore. The past few months have been a shit show for EN.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. You know, complete and total lack of transparency from the community management team. But let's be real, the community hasn't been much better either.
Nope. Oh man.
Because, like, I mean, I was there as well. Like, I was there and was like, hey, talk to us. Why aren't we getting content? And why is there not much, like, why has the transparency, especially with, like, Q&As, gone back so much? Because, you know, if you remember, if you were there early on,
Yep.
the Q&As and the roadmaps aren't a thing we had. Like, for the first few months after release, we didn't have roadmaps, we didn't have the Q&A. The first 2 or 3 months or so. And it's not something that any of the other servers have either. Like, the other servers don't have Q&As and roadmaps, they just get their announcements and deal with it. The only thing that comes close to a roadmap on other servers is dev streams for CN, because they have, like, event dev streams 2 months or so in advance, right? Where
Makes sense, yeah.
where Micah tell them about everything they've been planning for the next event. And, you know, they do their promotional stuff. Release all that artwork and shit. But yeah, none of the other servers have transparency like us. Even to this day, even with the roadmaps and the granted less effective Q&As nowadays. And, you know, I was there to complain and say, like, hey, you guys should really work on getting these Q&As back on track. But the thing is, I already had stopped doing that again by the time that people got really upset.
Oh yeah,
I'm not saying, oh, I did it before it was cool. I'm saying I did it, I saw the reason as to, like, what caused my questions, and I fucking stopped. People refused to see the reasons.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest issues in recent months has been, I think, like, global management has really shot himself in the foot with the NDAs.
Yeah,
like, just
that's
like,
another thing.
Jesus.
I think this year has been a big year of change at Sunborn.
Like, one of the things I've noticed is, actually, what I quickly bring up is so many features we wanted from the new client are now there, like the, which one was it? The handbook is there now.
Oh yeah, early on.
Everything like we've wanted is now there. It just kind of
shit.
appeared in the game, in my opinion. Like, it really just appeared in the game, in my opinion.
Oh, like, yeah, a lot of the client wasn't properly built up either.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't built up, yeah.
The client changelog was absolute garbage.
No, I think just, yeah, like, the way they introduced the new features, it didn't feel like it actually happened. It's like,
even the folks over at Game Press, let me interject. Even the folks over at Game Press didn't know the equipment was coming.
Yep.
And they literally have, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but they literally have a test server for guide making. Like, they're... so, in China and everything, you know, or if you've played Azerlane, also in Global, you'll know that a lot of these games have, like, separate servers that you can switch between and play different accounts to play with different people, stuff like that, right? You choose your server when you log in. And that's an incredibly common thing still in Japan and China, whereas it's not as common here. The only game that actually does it that comes to mind here is Azerlane. I'm trying to think of others, but they don't really come to mind. Unless we're talking about, of course, regional servers like NA, Europe, stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, separate servers that people play on and keep their accounts on. Stuff like that. That are all in the same region. You know, that's still a huge thing for Japanese and for Japan and China. Just because of how much bigger the audience is there.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And GFL also has a server switch. Actually, our client also has a server switch. It's in the files. It's just not used for us. And a bunch of guide makers from around the community got a special client for, I think it was, they originally got it for Isomare, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they could make guides for the events ahead of time, so they were ready on release.
Makes sense.
That thing hasn't been updated since Shattered Connection. The test server's been dead. The guide server has been dead. That's why, I think that's even partially why GFC has gone so inactive. Because they don't really have the means to make guides anymore, especially after Seiya departed. Very recently. That's another thing, if you don't remember. Seiya left. We're without a flagship creator now, the English GFL community, which fucking sucks. No, I think he said he's gonna do DR and Mirror Stage guides. Those he has pre-recorded from when they were going on old servers. But after that, he's gone. He'll still look at GFL 2 and PNC, probably. But, life happened. The state of the server was absolute disarray for the last 3/4 of the year. So, yeah, he moved on, as did many other people, I will say. Whether they were in their right to do so or not, I'm not going to comment on, because I think a lot of people really got hung up on the outrage, instead of actually wanting to criticize or wanting the game to be better.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that EN at some point, I could really tell that the months leading up to chapter 13, etc., were just filled from once, just pure anger at some point, but it's Jesus Christ.
I think at some point we really pivoted from being impatient, concerned, stuff like that, to just straight outrage. And at that point, communication, any sort of attempted communication goes out the window.
Yep.
And that's the real problem that I think we had, because, like I said, I was there. I was one of the first people to really be like, hey, can we get answers on Q&As again? Can we, go back to being a bit more transparent? Can you tell us maybe just what's happening with Chapter 13? And, nothing came of that, of course, even though that specifically was the most liked comment on that Q&A that month.
Yep.
But, I didn't get an answer, and it's okay, sure, fine. I'm gonna go and think about why this might be. I found my reasons, literally just having rational thought processes about what's going on at Sunborn. And that's why I stopped, and that's why I shifted to quote-unquote defending them over the last few months.
To be fair,
because, I wasn't even really defending them. I'm just saying, hey, guys, let's stop getting angry. Let's let level heads prevail, and actually think about the situation and see what we can do about it, right? But people just got angry at me.
Yeah, just really, just the emotional shift at some point was quite extreme.
If you remember, I think this was during the ranking episode that we did with Seiya. He said that Hoker said that he wanted to, Seiya asked him what he, how it was working on a game that you like.
Yeah,
in the way that he did, because Hoker is our operations manager. He's not just community manager. He does operations as a whole.
Yep,
that's his job. And that Hoker said, it's interesting. It's experience that I really like having, but once I'm out of juice, once I feel like I don't have much more left to learn, I'm gonna leave. I think Hoker passed that point September last year, and just hasn't really admitted it to himself yet, and it shows. That I hate saying it very directly like this, but I think I don't think we need a new operations team. Because let's be real, first and foremost, having an operations team of literally 2 people,
it's not really going to work.
Ain't gonna work. I mean, yeah, of course, you have developers, you have translators, you know, the team as a whole behind GFL Global is larger, but the actual operations management, like the actual operations, is just 2 guys. It's Hooker and Stellar. That's literally it.
Which, yeah.
And that's not good, especially not if half of the team ain't really there anymore with their work. And I can't really talk about Stellar because anything that the operations like either of them do is probably a choice that both of them make. You know, Stellar runs the Facebook and Twitter accounts. I think he also runs the Reddit account. Not sure about that. And Holker does the Discord Q&A. So, you know, I think they both talk things out between each other to make sure they can say stuff on the Q&A, you know, NDAs and stuff. And that's another thing. I think 2021 has been a huge year of corporate change for Sunborn. Because again, for one, COVID happened. So last year, they had to stop going to the fucking office to work. They've started doing home office work. You know,
which...
we all remember that's the reason the Balin Island shelter broadcasts started coming out. Right? Because they couldn't do dev streams in person at the time.
Makes sense, yeah.
Then also, again, the huge glow up they've had this year. They've been scaling up incredibly much over the last few years, over the last 2 years, this year and last year. During the pandemic, for their new games, and then also this year, they moved offices for the first time since they were founded, or well, for the first time since they walked out of their shared space with Array. Right? So since GFL came out, they've been in that office for the last 5 years, and they moved to a new office. So that's also a big deal. So I think among all that, among all the scaling up, the home office stuff, the moving office stuff, the having to work with essentially being understaffed in a pandemic, trying to develop 3 new games while also running a live service, I think a lot of that forced their corporate structure to change really big, really heavily. So they couldn't provide that same transparency anymore. And we see a perfect example of that with the early June incident. With Hoker saying, or Stellar saying, oh yeah, you know, SF Cap is coming early June, and then it came late July, right?
Yeah.
Because they just couldn't get it out on time. And I think, again, for that specifically is a reason why they've been so vague and so untransparent, is because they fucked up big time once.
Yep.
And that, I'm not saying that the early June incident is the reason that we have the problem with transparency now. I'm saying that it was the inciting incident on top of all this other shit that's been going on.
Yep, it was the butterfly incident.
Yeah, basically. So yeah.
God.
Just gonna pause there to let you interject.
So yeah,
if you've
the
got
way
anything to say. If you've got anything to say.
Yeah, I think like the entire delay portion, just call it that, was like poorly handled in like all directions in my opinion. Like community was just really toxic at that moment, where it's like, Jesus, just chill out for at least a month or 2.
Right?
It's so incredible. It was really frustrating to see like how people just complained. Then the moment Chapter 13 came out, I've noticed many people just not even playing it yet.
Yeah, right?
It's just like
people still cried for DR and they didn't even play Chapter 13.
Yeah. You could have just play chapter 13 the day it came
and
out.
that is people kept crying about DR, even though they did say it was coming in Q1.
Yep.
And even then, they still said, you know what, fuck it, we'll scrap the plans of the Valhalla rerun in the year, like in January, and we'll do DR first. Right? They pivoted on that point because they saw, you know, people want DR. We'll give them DR if we can. Like they said, you know, they gave us a rough roadmap for an entire quarter.
Yep.
They said, we'll have Jushin-chan, we'll have Chapter 13, we'll have the new client, we'll have dual randomness, and we'll have a Valhalla rerun, all within the next quarter or so.
Which I feel like those are like build up from the months where we didn't have anything.
That's insanely much. Not just for like 3 or 4 months, but to know that it's coming. Right? And people were still fucking mad about it.
Yep.
Because it wasn't specific enough. Like, then Jushin happened, and people were like, oh, where's Chapter 13 then? And they got really fucking mad about that. Then Chapter 13 happened, and they said, oh yeah, but where's dual randomness? And they got really fucking mad about that. Then they said, okay, you know what? If we can, we'll put out dual randomness before the Valhalla rerun.
Yep.
And then, you know, JP announces dual randomness happening, and people get mad, super fucking mad again, even though it's like 3 days until the roadmap comes out.
Yeah.
Like, people were just getting mad at absolutely pointless things ad nauseum.
Yeah,
because
I feel like
again, at some point, outrage just took over. You know, people took Hoker saying in the Discord Q&A, oh, generally we'll stay ahead of Japan. And then when JP had Chapter 13 announced 1 week before us, they went completely fucking ballistic with it. And then again, just now, again, they did the same thing, going absolutely completely fucking ballistic with dual randomness releasing in January, even though our roadmap wasn't even out yet for the month. And 3 days later, what do we see? Dual randomness in January. And then people are saying, oh yeah, but it said we'll generally stay ahead of JP. And like,
yeah, it's just
even before this whole thing with JP went down, they clarified to us, hey, sorry things have been so slow, we just categorize new content differently than y'all. Apologies for this. We'll try to do better. And if you take this into account, you can very clearly see that we are still well ahead of JP.
Yep.
Sure, we don't have Zig MCX or whatever, but we're still ahead in dolls, technically, by 1 doll. Let's say we're even on dolls. We're even on story, and we're like literal years ahead in skins and point events. Because we'll take these as like the 4 kinds of content there are: minor events, story, skins, and what was the other one? Dolls.
Yeah.
Right? So in 2 of those categories, we're way ahead. And in 2 of them, we're even. So yes, we're generally staying ahead of JP. Right?
Yeah.
And even then, we're still pretty close to CN's pace right now.
Yeah.
Even though we're getting dual randomness almost 8 months, basically. So let's say 9 after Polarized Light. It didn't take that long on CN. Actually, it did take roughly that long on CN because Polarized Light was the whole COVID garbage, but, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think dual randomness came out in, like, November or something, whereas Polarized Light was the winter event for 2022, or 2020, I think. Was it that? It was the winter event for 2020, and then DR was the fall event for 2020. I think that's how it was. So, it's roughly the same gap that we had. It's just that Chapter 13 didn't also take 7 months to come out, which, again, I'll totally concede that's a pace difference we had. But, like, Dual Randomness came out at the end of year 4. We're currently at the end of year 4 and staring down the throat of Dual Randomness. So, like, we're not, like, on the slightly accelerated pace that any other server should be, but we're not behind CN pace like people keep saying we are.
Yep.
Like, it's just...
Besides, it's...
I get it. People are disappointed. They want to play the game. And, like, they're passionate about the game. And they want it to do well and all this stuff, right? I totally fucking understand that. But if you're so invested into a game to the point where you're basically just making up things against it, like, even though I say the purest way of loving something is to hate it, like that's what I always say, right? But don't just make shit up, right? Look at numbers. People were like, oh, EN's pace has never really been consistent, and it's always been pretty fast. And then you go and say, okay, so let me grab the exact list here again, because this was something on, I think, Reddit, which comment in before comment saying Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Launch was in late quarter 2 2018. Cube Q3 2018. ArcSys Collab Q4 2018. Arctic Warfare Q1 2019. Deep Dive Q2 2019. Q Plus Q3 2019. Early. Valhalla late Q3 2019. Singularity Q4 2019. CT Q1 2020. DJ Max Q2 2020. Isomer Q3 2020. Gunslinger Girl early Q4 2020. Shattered Connection late to mid Q4 2020. Division Q1 2021. PL Q2 2021. Now, we didn't exactly have anything in Q3, but we had Jashin-chan in Q4. And now we're continuing with Dual Randomness and potentially Valhalla in Q1 2022. So, like, I understand that, maybe that's not granular enough for you. That's what the person I was replying here said, if you put an arbitrary time span, then of course you can make something look regular. But, like, it's never been irregular. It's always been one or maybe two major events every quarter. And while we didn't have a major event this third quarter this year, like, we might be getting 2 next quarter again. So I think that's fine. We've previously had 2 quarters with overlapping events, or not overlapping events, but like events happening in the same quarter. And like, I think people really blow out of proportion just how much time has gone on. Like, yeah, it's been 7 months between Polarized Light and Chapter 13. That really is shit for something that ended on a cliffhanger. I'll totally admit that.
Oh, yeah.
But in the larger scheme of things, it really wasn't that bad. This was PL, protocol assimilation. Then sure, it was a bunch of nothing. Then it was Jashin-chan and Chapter 13 now. And then coming DR, Valhalla, Mirror Stage, hopefully, and sometime in the earlier months of the second quarter, but, whatever. It's really not that bad.
I feel like also we should just make money bets. Are they going to complain about Valhalla rerun? Yes or no? Probably yes.
People are complaining about Valhalla rerun already because it's not new content.
Oh, there we go.
Even though it's new content for like 80% of the player base at this point. That's something else. People really overestimate the core player base of the game, like the core fandom. Like, I'm gonna be real. The core fandom of GFL is maybe like 2,000 people at best.
Yep. Like one of the things that I actually,
in global, at least. Like it's
Yeah.
at best 2,000 people or something like that. And that's not bad. That's basically the stat for every game out there. That's basically the stat for Arknights as well. That's basically the stats for Azure Lane as well. And you might say, oh no, you're fucking wrong. Look at all this social media activity. That's casuals. Trust me. People going on Twitter and posting their Azure Lane polls every other day, they're probably relatively casual, even if they say, oh, you know, we're a community, we're part of the community, we're like really into this game. They're probably casuals.
Yep.
People that like put their favorite character in their profile picture and name their account after them, they're probably casuals. I know I'm saying this as a bit of a hypocrite right now, but like,
yeah, casual.
It's
yeah.
there's it's kind of, I mean, of course, I'm not saying this to gatekeep or anything.
No.
It's probably gonna sound like I'm gatekeeping here right now, but I'm not saying this to gatekeep. But I'm just saying people probably really heavily overestimate the investment that a lot of people have into these games.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. Like, if I actively play a game, that doesn't make me a core member, like a core audience member, or a core community member, or a core fan, hardcore fan. That's where the short core comes from, hardcore. Like, what makes me a core fan is if the game is my single, like, big focus of something. Like, if like, I'm not a core Warframe player, even though I have, like, how many fucking hours do I have on Warframe? Like, over 500 easily, over 700 easily. I'm not a core Warframe player.
Yep.
Because the game's just not my focus.
Speaking of focus, I think something many EN players should do is, or just in general.
Yeah, play fucking something else.
Yeah, play something else.
Like,
if your refund happens,
if you're not happy with GFL, if GFL doesn't have the content for you to keep you playing, go play something else.
It's not that difficult. Like, I picked up
hard. Even like,
I picked up MTG.
I picked up PNC when it came out during the third quarter. Ah, look at that. They were busy with PNC. Like,
oh, what a coincidence.
Who'd have thought? Micah are really spread thin right now. Who would have guessed? But yeah, like, I played PNC for like a month or two, pretty actively. I haven't touched it since because the language barrier is just too high. But without understanding a single fucking word, I had a fantastic time with this game. I can't wait for Global to come out.
Yep.
Because holy shit, it's so good. And if I, like, actually understand what the fuck I'm doing, oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to PNC, almost more than Reverse Collapse.
No, that's interesting news.
Like, goddamn. Yeah. So yeah, something else that happened regarding PNC is, I don't know if you remember this, one of the translators posted about it and broke NDA.
Oh, no, I don't care about any other projects. I don't care about other projects, so I'm just GFL only focused. So and GFL only is basically what I'm doing.
But why though? But why though? There's so much coming with PNC.
Oh yeah, I thought the global release and just soak it all in for myself.
Fair enough if you're gonna wait. But yeah, this is for the global release though.
Yeah.
Basically, one guy came out and was like, "Oh yeah, so a little bit of an announcement. This was like on his small account. Like, he's an artist. This wasn't even his art account. This was like his small personal account. He like posts Genshin screenshots every now and then and talks about stuff. Just like, it's his personal account he shares with friends, right? As Twitter was originally supposed to be a social fucking network.
Oh yeah.
He was like, "Oh yeah, so I've been working on this Project NeuroCloud thing with Sunborn for their global release in 2022," and that was the first time someone has ever uttered a specific launch date for any sort of specific launch date for Project NeuroCloud, and people jumped on that because, of course, they did. it's the GFL community, and they had literally nothing else to do. So,
Mm.
you know, that's what core communities do best when they have nothing to do. They start shit. Which is exactly what happened, not just overall for Global in the last few months, but in that instance specifically. They jumped him.
Mm-hmm.
In a good way, but they still jumped him. And he wasn't particularly comfortable with that. It was like, wait, where the fuck are all these followers coming from? Wait, no, stop. God, you fucking damn it. No, this one meant to go big.
Yeah. makes
And
sense.
he totally panicked and was like, hey, even he reached out to them. And I was like, hey, you know, Sunborn, they have kind of like a cult-like following, which does extend into the Western Hemisphere, admittedly including myself. And, like, a lot of people were very distrustful of them. Like I said, they were generally welcomed with open arms, but a lot of people were also distrustful because, you know, again, cult-like following and, you know, very story-intensive games, stuff like that. And so I told him, you know, people are very distrustful towards you, but it's probably not founded on hostility. They're probably just they just really care about it. And I was like, oh, you know, it's fine. I just didn't expect this to catch people's attention as all, because, you know, he usually posts oh, I'm working on X, and only a couple of friends would, you know, interact with it. They leave a like or something, and this just went way out of proportion for them. But they did also, like, they gave me a bit of a show behind the scenes, which, again, I'm sorry if this is breaching any sort of NDA. I didn't sign anything. They did. If anything, they breached NDA. I'm just reporting. I'm not saying this to throw them under the bus. I'm just saying this to cover my own ass.
Yep.
What they said is, it may have looked like I'm the only one working on the localization with how I worded my tweet. So I decided to further clarify it. There were at least 20 to 30 localization studios that took part in Sunborn's test. They chose 6 out of them. Then there was another round. They would have a very professional and responsible localization manager who's making sure they're choosing the most fit to do the job. I understand my Twitter is currently full of Genshin and not Ghost Frontline, so people may feel confused. To be honest, it was a bit unprofessional of me to announce what I'll be working on. I think I've only been getting away with it until now because I don't have a large following on Twitter, plus my employers don't use Twitter. I should be more careful about it. Thanks a lot for your kind message and offer to help. I deleted the OG tweet because I shouldn't have said when PNC's EN version would possibly be released. Players should be getting this info from an official source, not me. Theoretically, I shouldn't have said it's being localized into English either, as that would be breaching the NDA as well, even though we know that info. It's interesting that Sunborn are that thorough with their NDAs. Usually they'd allow individual localizers to include that info in RCVs, but I don't want to take chances with a project that hasn't officially launched. So, yeah. First and foremost, again, very interesting how thorough Sunborn are with their NDAs, because we know PNC Global is a thing that happens from the moment it was announced first, right? And people still can't talk about the fact that it's happening. That work on it. That's very interesting. Also, oh shit, sorry, that's gonna be on the master recording if we're gonna have to fall back on a Windows notification sound. Whoops.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, it's very interesting for one, that, and like something that's a very interesting contrast here is they said, you know, we have a very they have a very professional and responsible localization manager. While EN was burning basically later that year, or like the next month afterwards, EN was completely and utterly in flames. I think this was very shortly after the after Chapter 13 was announced for JP, but not yet for EN. So again, people were absolutely fucking rioting in the streets because of, you know, EN will generally stay ahead of JP. Holker 2021. At the same time, the localization manager of Sunborn had posted pictures of him having like a steak dinner on Twitter. So, a bit of a juxtaposition there, you know. Which brings me to something else that happened, which a lot of people latched onto, was, you know, in the midst of the content drought, Holcar on his personal account just posting, "Won the Sunborn Eternal League Championship. Let's fucking go."
Oh god, I remember especially. Yeah.
That was such a fucking mess that followed from that. Everyone was just like, "Hey Holker, please run the game, don't play League." And on one side, I can understand the people, especially because like over the last 2 years, it's been surprisingly rare. Like until he switched off game sharing, it was very rare to see Holker not playing like Legends of Runeterra or Teamfight Tactics. Like 24/7. Like when he was online on Discord, chances like 99% of the time he was playing either Teamfight Tactics or Legends of Runeterra. So that didn't help things either. And the whole distrust towards the man. But yeah, lots of things happened this year despite our absence and the absence of content. And you know, we only have more things to look forward to, honestly, this year. Or, yeah, this year. Oh my god. With this releasing on New Year's, we can refer to both 2021 and 2022 as this year.
Oh god.
But yes, a lot of things has happened in 2021, despite the lack of content. And we have a lot more things to look forward to in 2022. Like, we have up to 4 games to look forward to releasing. Like, of course, this is under the hope that, you know, GFL 2 makes its summer release date, which would hopefully mean a fall release date for us. And I mean, PNC is coming out. I'm pretty certain of that. PNC is coming out during 2022. We still have Mirror Stage and Poincare Recurrence and whatever might come afterwards to look forward to. I do think we'll get Poincare Recurrence at the end of the year.
I hope so.
I think that's something that we should be able to say relatively confidently. Because if we get Mirror Stage in quarter 2, then I think we should be able to get Poincare Recurrence in quarter 3. I think 3 major events is fine for a pace on a year. Maybe we can throw a collab in there as well. Then we'll just have a normal quarterly pace. Yeah. If we don't get Poincare Recurrence this year, I still think it's fine if we get a new collab. That's what I would say, how I would say it. So, like, we have Dual Randomness and maybe Valhalla rerun in quarter 1. Then in quarter 2, maybe we have Mirror Stage or a new collab. Same goes for quarter 3, either Mirror Stage or a new collab. And then, depending on what's happened in the other 2 quarters, the other one, respectively, in quarter 4. Right? So let's say we have quarter 1 with Dual Randomness, then late quarter 1 we have Valhalla. Let's say we get nothing during quarter 2, then we have a new collab during quarter 3, and then we have Mirror Stage in quarter 4. I'll be fine with that. I genuinely be fine with that.
Yep.
And like, I can already see people like, oh no, that's way too little, after they left us for so long without content this year. And it's like, again, guys, they're spread thin right now. They're working on 3 other games. They're managing 1 other game that's basically vaporware at this point, because holy shit, have we not heard about Glitchland for long.
Oh, yeah, true.
But like, it's all these things, right? They're working on all these things in the midst of a pandemic. I mean, yeah, sure, COVID is mostly over in China, but still, they're feeling the aftershock of it. It's just, there's so much going on at Sunborn. And people are getting upset about something that can literally be solved with playing a different game for a few months. And man, it just sucks. But hey, we got an anime.
Nice.
And that, like, really.
Oh yeah.
Why can't we just fucking focus on the positives rather than screaming about how the server's going to die within the next few months?
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. Like, I get it. You know, you shouldn't treat your an important server like trash either. But people are saying, oh, you know, they're now at this point actively killing EN.
Which is a stupid
when
idea.
we're literally one of the most profitable servers. Like, we made the single, I think we, at some points, we made the single majority of revenue for the entirety of GFL. Like, we didn't have sole majority. Like, we didn't have sole over 50% of revenue. But we had, like, an overly proportionate amount. We made over 20%. You know, there's 5 main servers. We made over 20% of the revenue that GFL generates, right? During that quarter specifically. I don't remember which exactly it was. I think it was like quarter 3 2020 that stat specifically comes from, where EN made like 25% of global revenue for like total revenue for GFL across all servers, which is a fucking lot, and we still make a fucking lot of GFL's total revenue. Not nearly as much these months, of course, but still a lot, right? And it's like, why the fuck would they kill a server that makes that much money, right? That's what people are saying, right? Even though we're giving you this much money of the entirety of GFL, you're now setting our server up to die. What the fuck? And there was like, it just kept going. Like, you know, the worries were ignored, so people actually like doubled down on that and started believing it. And then now at the end of the year, Sunborn just slap all of that out of her hands and say, yeah, okay, here's the game, and like everywhere now. Like, the game's now available literally everywhere globally. They expanded their servers area, and it's like, you know, the actual literal opposite. What the hell? Hold on a minute. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna take care of that later. Someone ping. Oh, Jesus Christ! I have pings all over the place. What the fuck? Oh, okay. That's a thing. Okay. Just check that through. Sorry. Discord stuff.
Oh, okay.
Someone pinged me on GFEN for some reason, and Ferrari sent me like 5 DMs. But yeah. I think that's pretty much it for this time. Or is there anything else you want to say?
About anything?
Anything?
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't really have much more to say.
No.
I mean, I could continue eating everyone's ears off about the anime OP, but I'm gonna make the wise decision to not do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's basic stuff like, you know, all the transitions and stuff.
Yep.
You know, from, you know, Sop lifting her left arm up to the camera, and then transitioning to the Sanguis, which then transitions into the Butterfly incident with M16, which then transitions into 404, or how AR-15 has an umbrella, which, I mean, yeah, again, if you don't remember, which translates to parapluie. You know, stuff like that. You know, there's basic stuff with that, like that in the OP.
Oh, yeah.
But I could continue eating your ears off about it for hours again. And I'm not gonna do that.
And I just got a commission back for my story, which I still haven't continued. And holy shit, does it look fucking amazing.
Fucking mood.
Yeah, whether I can send it here for you to look at. Shipping and recording booth, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest commissions I've gotten back.
Remember, I'll put it on screen.
Maybe it's like my JFL fan story, which I have to continue.
Oh, nice.
It's fucking amazing looking.
But yeah, I think that's it. For today. For this year. Or for last year. Hopefully not this year. Again.
No,
I want to apologize again for all the lack of content this year. You know, we had 3 episodes this year, and including our special, and like 3 live fire streams, which isn't as much as I would have wanted to do either, but they were fantastic streams, so I'm not going to complain about that. But yeah, we definitely want to do something more regular again. We're still looking for a 3rd member. You know, if you're listening to this and you're interested, feel free to hit us up. A 3rd core member would be fantastic for this podcast.
That's true, yeah. Because we kind of have like a sort of weird discrepancy, I think. I think like someone who is. Wait, so currently I'm more like a casual, like I care more about the story, etc. type of player, whereas you are like heavily into the entire industry, etc.
Yeah.
And I think someone who is like in between, who plays regularly and cares about the features, would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe something more
'Cause-
in the direction of an actual Dala or something.
Oh yeah, that's also an option. Yeah.
Or again, just anyone really. I mean, if the point is, if you vibe with us, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you vibe with us
Yeah.
and maybe have a bit of a different voice to offer, you know, we're gonna welcome you with open arms. So if you're interested, feel free to hit us up. If not, I mean, we're still gonna be we're still gonna very much appreciate if you continue listening. Follow us on Twitter and YouTube. If somehow you're able to support us on Patreon, because things have been turbulent this year.
Continuum turbulence.
They
God.
continue to be turbulent.
No.
No, but you all know I've paused our Patreon campaign for a while. For a while this year during the content drought, because we weren't able to put out anything ourselves. So, I think it was kind of unfair to keep charging people for that. But,
Makes sense.
with 2022, we kind of want to get back into things, especially if content keeps more steadily rolling now. We might be able to do something at least monthly, or at the very least quarterly, whenever like a big thing comes around, right? We want to at least do something, let's just say at least every quarter we want to do a proper episode and one live fire stream, right? I think that's something that we can at least aim for. Then again, I don't even know how the year is going to look for me. That's going to be decided over the next 2 months. How the year is going to be for me from here on out. Because, lots of things changing in life, but that's neither here nor there. So, thank you all for sitting through this almost exactly 2 hours with us.
Oh yeah, we need to pass time now for the Trojan experience. But no, yeah.
Happy New Year, and
That's true. Happy New Year.
We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.
Yeah. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, hopefully sooner than later. Bye.
But yeah, with DR coming out, yeah.
Oh?
So with DR coming out, we probably have something soon.
Oh yeah, we'll probably have some. We'll definitely have something. Probably by the end of February, at least. I think that's something we can definitely say. We should have a DR episode by the end of February.
Yep.
So yeah, I look forward to that, I guess.
See you next year.
For the third time.
Okay, hopefully not next year.
For the third time. Have a good one.
Yep.